for the final layout of today. So let's see here. See if we can get everything up live. All right. It says it's waiting for me, but I look like I'm live. So let's just double check before I get going that everything is streaming okay. Looks like it's all working on the phone. It's just not coming through on the... Okay, there we go. Now I think we got it. All right, cool. All right, so again, we are on our third and final layout for today. And then during the wrap up, I'm going to walk through the layouts and show you kind of the finished so that you have a better feel for some of the things I did between the layouts where I added some finishing touches and things like that. So we're almost to the end of my day today. It's crazy. Again, the bingo game is still up there on the Facebook page, Liz Scrapping Studio Insiders. And if you come on and are here live with me, I would love for you to tell me, you know, who you are, where you're at, what you're working on today. Are you a close to my heart customer in the past, or a maker? Have you ever used Stampin' Up products before? And if you did, which ones are your favorites? And what are you working on today? All right, so with that, we'll jump right into this last layout. So this is going to be using the paper collection from the suites, and it's Take to the Sky. This is the paper collection. As I noted previously, I did not purchase the whole collection, or the whole suite. I only purchased the paper packs, so that's what I'm working with. I don't usually put metal on my layouts. I feel like they might interfere with the pictures or cause damage to pictures, so I don't typically use metal on my layouts. And I wasn't sure how I would use this stamp set, though I do like the rivets and things here. I probably could have used that piece, so I may end up getting it in the long run for the stamp. But again, I'm not sure if I will in the future. Again, I have a whole year to think about it, which is really nice, and play around with it and see if I need it. All right, so let's just go ahead and move that off and look at the paper collection again. Now, I have actually done some cutting up of pieces of this paper collection. So part of this paper collection came with these cut-aparts that had these tags and these other squares and embellishments. And I really thought with this layout that I would end up using these tags in some way. And I couldn't make it work. So they're all cut apart and they're there, but I'm not going to be using them. The other papers in this collection are very usable papers. I really love this paper collection, not just only from the colors and the theme, but I do feel like there is a lot of usable papers here for lots of different themes, and I really like that a lot. So I was going to do what I was going to deem as a travel collection, where I was going to use some of my old stamp sets. I tend to gravitate to travel stamp sets a lot, and so I tend to have them in my stash. And so, you know, again, if you didn't like maybe the airplane theme, there are some other things that we had. Are We There Yet? Was a stamp set that we had. Wander was a stamp set that we had. We usually had a travel theme at least once a year, right? This was a really old one. This is This Way to Paradise. Again, some nice things on that one. So again, you may have a bunch of travel themed stamps in your stash already that you can use. But then when I realized that this was May the 4th, and May the 4th is May the 4th Be With You, I kind of pivoted and I quickly pivoted to a different type of layout, and it's still travel related in my mind, but it's not strictly like travel. So I just again playing around with things, and this is what I came up with. As far as close to my heart papers go and what colors coordinate well with this particular pack, New England Ivy pairs really well with this pack. I actually pulled out Bluebell as a retired color of the year that I thought went really well with it. Sapphire goes really well. And then I have Cinnamon and I have Desert Rose. I do think Cinnamon does work a little bit better if you compare it, but I think both of them actually work pretty good together. And then Pebble is the last color that pairs well with this. And again, for some reason, I didn't end up using a lot of cardstock when I designed this layout, and I didn't use any of those colors, even though those colors pair well. I ended up, because I was switching to a different theme or a different way of using the theme, getting kind of outside of the traditional travel, I ended up having to go a slightly different direction. And so what I ended up doing, and just trying to make sure that everything is showing in frame here, I ended up going with a Star Wars theme, and I ended up using the print and cut options out of Cricut. And so I tried to find things that were sort of Star Wars themed without having to pay for it. I do have Cricut Access, but you don't get the Star Wars stuff with Cricut Access. You have to spend $2 for everything that you want from the Star Wars Cricut files. And so I decided I wasn't going to do that. So I did find a number of things that I thought worked well, that were close enough. I had some planets, and I did print and cut in those. The other thing I did is, again, I did that exact same technique that I've been showing on the other three layouts, where I've got my title cut out, and behind it is the white piece. And this, I've used the stripe embossing folder. So this was an embossing folder that we had, I think, in the last catalog for Close to My Heart. And so I just did an embossing underneath there, and it's just the stripe. So again, trying to just repeat that same thing from each of the layouts. So each of the layouts use that same style of title, and just use different embossing folders to jazz up the white behind it. So I only ended up using 2 papers from the Take to the Sky collection. This color that's like the what do they call this color? I should start using their colors and not our colors. That is Copper Clay. So this is Copper Clay, and this one is Smoky Slate. So I ended up using the papers that had those 2 colors in it. I did use one of the cut aparts with the clouds on it, so that's there. And I had a lot of pictures, and so I created these pictures here in this film style format. I actually did this on Canva, and I was able to take a frame and make it 11 by 3. I think this is 11 by 3. And put in a bunch of pictures that way. And then I had a bunch of other pictures of my daughter and the galaxy, faraway galaxy at Disneyland that we went to in October. So still travel theme. And what I did is I tried to take the print and cuts and use them. And that's how I ended up kind of going towards this color here, this background color. Instead of putting it on white, it didn't quite feel right. This is Harbor, but I do think it goes fine with the desert, or the Copper Clay, and the Smoky Slate. 2 words. I gotta keep remembering 2 words. Smoky Slate. So we're gonna play with that. We're also going to use some rose gold shimmer trim that I have. We're going to use some charcoal ink. We're going to ink up like we did on our last layout. We're going to ink up this piece. And then I pulled out some of my acrylic pieces here. I pulled out my white arrows and I pulled out my white stars for this layout. So with that, again, I think this one's going to be fairly easy to put together. The last thing I'll probably use is the Ombre Matte Decorative Dots. I think the coral color here is going to go really well. We'll see if the blue works. I don't think that the blue is going to work as well with the background that I have. So we'll see. We'll play around with that. All right. So I'm going to just shift one of these off to the side so that we can, oops, I just knocked off one of my pieces. So hopefully I can find that. We're going to bring this over and we're going to start working on this one. Now I have on my photos, I do have a white frame around my photos. That one's a little wonky. I cut that one a little wonky. That I'm not going to mat them on anything. And then, like I said, this is really set up to be like a piece of film strip. And I'm just going to sort of just move a few things around here. So this piece is just cut a little bit smaller, and this is the piece that we're actually going to work with first. So I'm going to get out my dome foam. I'm going to see if I have one that is for charcoal. Oh, that looks like that's my charcoal one. I have my little foam things in a little box like this so that I can keep track of which ones I have and which ones I don't have. Little things for. All right, so we're going to take our charcoal ink and we're going to we're going to add some dimension to this. Now this has, you know, a lot of dimension in the print itself, but it's still sitting a little flat on the paper. And so by coming in with this charcoal, kind of like what we did with the black on the other one, this is going to give it a little bit more dimension and make it stand out a little bit more against this darker layout. And hopefully this is going to read probably a little bit like black because charcoal is a little bit darker. But I didn't want to go straight to black. I wanted to kind of keep in that gray, in the more gray tones. And this is the only gray that I have. I don't have Pebble, so I couldn't go a little bit lighter. So I would love to know what people are working on, if anything, while I'm doing this inking up. What projects are you guys working on today, if any? And have you finished any of the projects? Are you still working through them? Be interested to know. I know it's a rainy day here, so it's actually a perfect day to do scrapbooking because don't want to do anything else other than maybe read or watch movies. So it might be what I do after I finish up today because it's been a long day. I've enjoyed every moment of it, but it was a lot of work to get to today to get ready for this. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. Again, I'm using, instead of the finger dauber, which I was a little bit less, a little bit more tight, I'm using the bigger dauber because I want a little bit more ink on this one. And so when I put that down, now this is standing out much better against that harbor paper. Okay, so then we've got this piece. I'm not going to ink this piece up. So this piece is going to just stay just like it is. I think I'm going to ink this piece up. Again, this was a little scrap that was left, so I'm just seeing if this is going to work, but by inking it up, I'll have it ready if I end up liking how it looks. This layout was a little less, I didn't have as much time to prep for it because I kind of made the change on Thursday, and it was, so it was a little bit of a last minute decision to change this out, and so I was working furiously to figure out what embellishments I was going to be able to do. with this versus the rest of the layout. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna glue this one down. Oops. Oop, let's close up our ink pad. I'm sure someone was yelling at me out there in the live land saying, "Close your ink pad before you put your hand in it," because I've been known to do that. Put my whole side of my hand into my ink pad. All right, so I'm doing this just off a little bit from the edge. I don't want to be right on the edge. And then I'm going to bring this piece in, and I'm going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to just get that laid down. And I'm going to set this, looks like at about 10 and 2. Right about there. All right, so now I'm going to come in with my rose gold shimmer trim. Now I know this is not necessarily something that's in the Stampin' Up world, but this is, you know, one of my stash items, and I am still trying to use up my stash. And I feel like, you know, lots of us have stash items that we would like to use. And so I'm trying to match it. And this rose gold really goes really well with that copper clay color. And I think it'll just add a little bit of extra oomph to this layout, which was feeling a little bit flat when I was looking at it. So the idea is I want to jazz it up just a little bit. The print and cuts weren't exactly the ones I wanted, but like I said, I also didn't want to spend, you know, $7 or $8 to get the print and cut images from Star Wars, that, you know, from the Star Wars side of the Cricut house. So I'm making do with what I have, both in stash and with the print and cuts. All right, so there we've got that piece, and we're going to go ahead and do the other piece up here. We'll just see if this is the full amount we need. Yep, we don't even need to cut that. That's almost perfect. And hopefully this gives us a little bit of oomph on this layout. I will say that I had to play around with the print and cut sizes because I wasn't sure how big to make everything. I'm so used to having a sticker sheet to work with that I'm not, it was a little bit of a new experience for me to create my own embellishments like that. So it was good. The other thing I think that's nice about kind of this transition is that we don't have a sticker sheet. So now we have to be a little bit more creative. And I feel like I actually had the opportunity with these 3 layouts to be a little bit more creative than maybe I would have been if I had been given a theme. And so, you know, it's a good thing, right? Change is not always easy, but I do feel like it definitely was. It's definitely pushing my creativity, and hopefully it will show in some of my artwork. All right, so again, I am gonna just add foam tape to this because I want to add some dimension off of these patterned papers. So we're just gonna add some foam tape to this. And I was really happy how Canva was able to create this film strip. It's really fun. I think it goes with the you know, Star Wars being a film, but also you know, when you have a lot of like just random pictures, it was just kind of nice to have them all in this film strip style. Again, a lot of the colors really I thought worked well with this paper too. The color of these you know, these fictional places are really you know, lend itself to some of these pictures and the colors and things that they've done. All right, so these pictures we're just going to lay out. I tend to be a grid girl. I'm not that I'm not that good at doing things off kilter. That's just kind of not my style, uh, really. So grid photos tend to work better for me, and that's kind of what I've got going here. So what I want to decide is, do I want these popped up? I don't know. Let's start with the title. I'm going to think about that for a moment. So let's start with the title, and we'll get that down, and then we can lay in these other pieces. So I think this one is going to be our fastest layout so far today. I would love to know who's on with me. I see 4 people, so I'd love for you to introduce yourself. Say hi. I'd love to know who's here, watching, hopefully learning, hopefully getting some good ideas as well. All right, so far, far away. Start there. And again, I'm not pushing that down too hard because I want to be able to possibly adjust it if I need to. So I just sort of gently touched it to the page. And that way, if I need to move it, I hopefully will have some wiggle room to pull it up from the page. And let's do this one. I think I've used all of the actual dimensionals, so we're gonna take this part off. I don't like to waste, so this still has sticky on it as far as I can tell. So we're gonna just peel that off, and we're gonna use it. And this is a nice long title piece, so I can just run it right across, and then hopefully use some of these other pieces in between. Supplies like this are expensive, and we go through them so fast that gotta make them stretch as far as you possibly can. Let's see, let's cut that. Put that there. Put that there. All right, is that showing? That's showing. Okay, all right, I think we've got enough adhesive on there now. So, all good. All right, so let's get this down, and then we can start placing our other pieces and seeing how they work, and then I'll decide if I want to pop those photos up or not. All right. Okay, so missing a far. Where did my other far go? That ever happened to you? You know you have something right there, and all of a sudden it's gone. Usually it's my scissors or my adhesive. Usually it's one of those two things. I literally just had it in my hand, and for the life of me, I cannot find it anywhere on my table. It's just crazy how quickly things get buried when you are crafting. That happened to anybody else? Hopefully I'm not the only one that happens to, where it's searching for things after you know you literally just touched them. All right, so this is one of the planets that I did as a print and cut. And so I'm gonna lift this up, and I'm gonna put that right there. And then I have, I need some adhesive. I need some of the dots, of the glue dots for these acrylic pieces. So I'm going to pull out my glue dots. And let's see. Oh, this one's backwards for some reason. Okay. Let's see. Gotta find where my dots are. There they are. The acrylic pieces, stick better with glue dots than they do with the tape runner, so that's what what works best. These are mini glue dots, so I'm actually grabbing quite a few of them just to make sure that it sticks. So I'm spreading those around. So a little bit of embellishment at the same time as I'm putting it together, but this, like I said, is a much simpler layout compared to some of the other ones that I've done today. All right, so that's good. And then I wanted to use this arrow to point down to far, far away. And so I'm going to grab some glue dots with that. Hopefully I'm in frame. I feel like I'm out of frame all the time. So we'll do that. And then up here at the top, we'll go ahead and glue this down. And then we will pop up our little fighter jet. And again, we'll grab this. All right, anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask me? Be happy to answer any questions. It's very quiet out there. That's okay. I know sometimes it's hard to talk on these things. Okay, so we're going to put our little fighter jet there, and then we're going to add in, again, some more of our stars as our embellishments up here. And I think this side, other than putting those pictures down, will be done pretty much with this side. Just double checking that I got everything on here I wanted. And I think I am going to pop up these pictures. So we'll just quickly do that part, and then we'll move on to the other side. All right. So this was the first time we had been to the new section of Disneyland. We hadn't been to Disneyland in probably 10 years. Was the last time that Steve and I went. And my younger daughter has gone a couple of times, but we hadn't gone for a while. So it was fun to see this new area of Disneyland, and we went we went during Halloween, during October, and so everything was decorated for Halloween, for Oogie Boogie, I think is what it's called. But we hadn't ever been to this section, this brand new section, and it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed this new Star Wars area. R2-D2 was out. We'll see that on the next page, and we got to see. I think we saw Ren. I think that's who we saw walking. I think I have a picture of that as well. And so I don't know. It was a good time. It was a good time. I really enjoy it. All right. So, whoops, oh, I didn't take the backing off of that one. That's why it's moving. It helps if you take the backing off of the dimensionals so that it sticks. Okay. All right. So that's that side. And then we're going to bring over the other side. So as you can see, this layout, was really quite easy. It's not that complicated. As far as you know, a lot of techniques. Most of the techniques were ones that we had done earlier in our other layouts. So this one is just sort of repeating some of those things. And and this is a little journaling block that I'm putting on that cut apart here. I feel like this is not sticking out very much. I think I'm going to add some ink to this one too. It's kind of blending in with the clouds and the gray. So we're going to just add a little bit of ink to this, not too much. And then I think it'll stand out a little bit better. You don't ever want to pop up the space that's going to be your journaling space, because like at this point I haven't written any journaling, and so it'll be very difficult to write on that if I had that popped up. So I definitely don't want to do that. All right, so we're going to again come back and we're going to ink up this piece just like we did before. And oh, the sun is coming out. It literally rained up until just a few minutes ago. I'm seeing some sunshine come through my window. I opened up my door, or my blind to the window in my space here in my office, because I wanted to get a little bit of natural light because it was doomy and gloomy in here. But now we've got a little bit of sun peeking through. Maybe we are done with the rain. All right, almost done with this. Okay, and then we've got this little piece again, similar to what we had on the other side. The only thing I'm not actually copying is the clouds. I didn't have any more gray clouds, and the blue clouds didn't really work. So this is where the stamp set or the die set might have come in handy to use, but I'm going to just be okay with having clouds on one side of the layout and not on the other side. Okay, so that can go away. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this piece down now. And again, I'm going to, it's not going to go straight to the edge. It's going to go off. It's going to have a little bit of a reveal there. Just trying to make that even. It would help if my paper was straight though. Okay. All right. And then we have this piece, and this piece, I don't actually want it to go all the way to the edge, but I didn't trim it down yet, so we're gonna just play with it in the size and then trim it off at the end. So we're gonna go ahead and tape all that. And we're gonna set that at the 2-inch mark. We're actually going to leave a little bit less than that because it's going to be hidden. So we might be able to use this paper for something else, since this is going to be hidden under that strip. We don't really want it to. We can save ourselves a little bit of paper there. All right, and then this one is going to go. We're going to do that one at the 11-inch mark. There. Okay. Okay, so that's that. So now we've got this piece that we'll add in right there. And I am going to do the shimmer trim. I almost forgot to do the shimmer trim. So I do have another rose gold. I double checked that before I left, or before I decided to do this. So in this case, I'm going to do the lower, and we might do the upper too. We're gonna see. So again, I don't need to do all the way across because it's going to be hidden by the photo that I have there, so I don't need to use all of it. So we're going to add that, and we're just butting the shimmer trim right to the end of the page and up against the copper clay paper. I'm getting better. I'm actually remembering the names. I feel good. So I'm going to have to turn this because I cannot get the angle right so that I can lay that straight and at the edge there. Okay, there we go. That's much better. Okay, it's hard to believe how close that rose gold is to that copper clay color. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go ahead and trim that. And put that down. And the hardest thing about the shimmer trim is getting your nail behind that carrier sheet. It is a pain sometimes to get that nail to work. All right, so just get that lined up. Okay, and then we're gonna lay this down. And I've actually got a little gap here, which I'm not happy about. So the question is, how do I want to solve for that? Okie dokie. I gotta think. I gotta solve for that because I don't really like that much. I feel like it just stops short and it doesn't have any relationship. And I think that's because I had this underneath this piece before. So I think what we're going to do, and this is why I like the Tombow adhesive, because I can make a few changes here and hopefully solve my dilemma. Okay, so I just tore this paper because I was a little bit too aggressive. So we're gonna see if we can salvage that. Let's see if that will work. Okay, so come on, stop being difficult. Stick to yourself. We're going to pull this up and we're gonna lay it on top. And this is what happens sometimes when you're working through a project. Is that it doesn't quite work the way you expected because of one little thing. So again, let's just get this straight like so that we make sure our reveal is good on the side of this. And I think we have averted a problem. Okay, that all works. Okay, so now that we've done that, it's just a matter of, do we want to add any additional shimmer trim to the bottom and to the top here? And I'm not sure that adds anything, so I think we're going to go ahead and not do that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get our pictures down and we will do our embellishments. So foam tape again. And then we're done. We might actually be done with this one early. Might not need quite an hour. Like I said, this one is a much simpler layout than some of the ones that we did earlier today. A little less number of pieces, and the techniques are much simpler. So, okay. And we'll go ahead and pop these guys up too. yeah, this was Ren walking through and terrorizing people. But R2D2, I was so excited to see R2D2. He's one of my favorite characters. And so I was pretty stoked to get a chance to see them. And then the walking, they had, yeah, it's just so many fun little things that they put into that new attraction. So we enjoyed our morning there for sure. And we did like the rides too. We were surprised. The lines were a little bit long, but it wasn't horrible. Let's put it that way. They weren't the worst lines that we could have been in. All right, so I don't remember exactly how I had these laid out, but I think this works. Like that, and then we need our journaling spot. And that's going to just go down flat. I didn't take the... I'm having a problem taking adhesive off today. I guess I'm afraid to stick things down. But we're going to move this guy over just a smidge. Foam adhesive, you have to be careful that you don't push it down too hard, because getting it up once you've pushed it down at all it becomes more difficult. So if you have to rearrange things, you kind of get stuck. So I do recommend that you kind of get your placement before you actually press everything down. All right, so the last pieces are, again, the, oops, I kind of ruined my little planet there. The last pieces were these other cut aparts, or not cut aparts, sorry, print and cuts. And I think I'm going to make a small change. I did have a bunch of different print and cuts. I made my own lightsaber, but I think I'm going to change my mind on what I used. I actually found this one, which was a free one that, you know, it sort of looked like the Death Star, but I didn't like it with the paper. I didn't like it, even though I recolored it. It just doesn't feel like it fits. It doesn't feel like it works. So I decided to get rid of that one and not use it. I'm just seeing if I can use some of these other planets, because this, again, that one actually works on top of that piece. I didn't like it by itself. So again, I'm sort of playing around with these layouts, or with this, to see what might work color wise with what I had, because I didn't initially think I was going to have Harbor. And so I'm trying to create a cluster around, but I think that actually works. I think we're going to leave it like that. I think I like that. We'll go ahead and pop up this planet. We'll start here at the bottom and we'll pop up this planet. And then we can work on these other pieces as well. So again, pretty straightforward, simple layout, not too complex. You don't have to get fancy all the time. You can be, you know, a little simpler, and it still works. So don't feel like you have to follow anybody, or that, you know, all the fancy layouts that maybe you see online, or even, you know, even by other demonstrators, you know, that you need to go that fancy. Sometimes it's about the pictures and about the story and about the memory more than it's about the you know, the layout itself. You want the layout to support your pictures. You want the layout to support your story. And that's the most important piece is whatever story you're trying to tell, or whatever it is you're trying to communicate with that layout or save that memory of from that layout, that's what you focus on. So I always start with the pictures. Well, I shouldn't say that. I actually create a lot of layouts without pictures first, because A, I like creating layouts, but B, I don't always have the right pictures to go with the papers I'm working with, or I just feel like I don't necessarily know what I want to say yet about that particular event. And so I do create a lot of layouts on my channel that you will not see pictures of. This is one of the few that you're seeing pictures on. One, because I felt like I had some really great ideas and pictures to go with these papers. And the other thing is that I wanted you to, you know, sort of see it with pictures versus by itself. But my kids don't like me showing them on screen. In fact, I probably should have blocked out my daughter's face here. I missed that one. I did it on the other layouts. You know, they specifically have asked me to, you know, minimize the number of times that I show them. So printing out pictures and doing layouts with the pictures becomes a little bit tougher with, you know, trying to do YouTube videos and stuff. So a lot of times you'll see me posting or doing layouts that don't have any pictures on them that I'll add pictures to later. All right, so again, I am adding dots as I'm talking to my stars and adding those to this layout. I'm going to add this arrow pointing to R2D2. Again, repeating the arrow from the other side. And then I think, do I want to pop this guy up? I think I do. I think I'll pop that one up as well. I've got a little bit of extra dimensional edges here that I can add. And we'll pop that guy up. And I think we'll be able to call this guy done. So I use that whole page of dimensionals on these 3 layouts. Okay. All right, there we go. And I think we need a couple more stars around that planet. So let's grab a couple of those. Yeah. Or maybe an arrow. Maybe we need an arrow. Let's see if we've got a good arrow that we could use. Got another one of those arrows. Maybe that's what we'll do. I think we'll do an arrow. Change my mind. You're allowed to change your mind when you're scrapbooking. You're allowed to look at something and decide you don't like it and tear it apart and start again. There is no rules. And then maybe we'll add a star above that. My dog is staring at me right now. I think she wants to go outside now that it's not raining. Oops, did not pick up. And let's do one more. Again, triples, things in 3s really are pleasing to the eye. So maybe we'll put it, no, I don't like that. No, that's too. All right, we're going to do that right there. Okay, so we have completed this layout. So just make sure everything is stuck down. Oh, we didn't do this up here. Ah, almost missed one section. I was going to lift it up and I was going to probably make everything fall. Okay, so we'll do that. We need to pop this guy up. Thought I was all done. I was so close, so close, so close. Okay. And we ended up getting close to an hour. Oh well, I tried. Tried to be faster. The embellishment is always the tough, the thing that takes the longest, because you got to place it and you got to pick it up and put all the adhesive on it and set it back down. So definitely is a... Oh, those are down. Okay, so it was just that one piece. Okay, so we'll bring in the other side here. And I'll trim off that extra piece on the edge there. But that is our travel layout, which is a Star Wars themed layout. All right, I have one more session at 4 o'clock that I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you all of the layouts one more time and walk through kind of what we did. And so that should be close, you know, that'll be 10-15 minutes or so. And I really have enjoyed so far today. So I hope to see you at the finale and have a great hour or so before I see you again. Thanks.